Good evening, and welcome to Wednesday. We are going to meditate for some period of time, and then I'm going to talk about mindfulness of feelings. But I'd like to offer a tool for meditation. It's just a simple course of things that when we meditate, we are focusing on our breath in this style of meditation, and the mind wanders off. And then we come back and the mind wanders off. And people have come to me over time and said they don't know if they're doing it right, or they haven't gotten to the point where they can get their mind to be quiet. The mind does not go to quiet, which brings up the basic repetitive nature of really any kind of spiritual practice. They call it a practice because we practice it over and over. So when you notice that you have wandered off, it's good, you've noticed. Sometimes we notice right away, sometimes not so much, sometimes it takes a minute or two or longer. We don't get involved in the content of whatever we're thinking about. We just notice that we're thinking. And one thing we can do is just look at it and say, this. Just to name it. Just to activate that part of the mind that is noticing thinking without going down the road, and noticing this as in this is happening. And then you'll bring your awareness, your attention, back to your breathing. And then when you wander off, just look at it and say this. As if just acknowledging that this is happening. It doesn't really matter so much that we don't get long periods of silence. The point of the exercise, the point of the practice, is to be aware of what the mind is doing. If it's quiet, we're aware of that. If it's not, we're aware of that. The more we focus on breathing, the more we become present in the moment, and the more the mind quiets just on its own. So, with that, let's find a meditation posture that works for you. That would be a posture in which you are alert but relaxed. If you're sitting, be sitting upright but not like rigid. Just let your back relax into its natural upright form without like sloping. Just upright and alert. We're going to start with relaxing our eyes, and the way we do that is we just lower our gaze like we're looking down our nose, and that relaxes the muscles around the eyes. And gently close your eyes. And let your awareness come to the physical sensations of the contact points. Be aware of the sensations of your bottom resting in the cushion or on the chair. And let yourself be aware of the physical sensations of your hands resting in your lap. And let yourself be aware of the physical sensations of your feet on the floor. And just letting your body settle. And let's take a few slow, deep breaths. And as you exhale, just let the body relax and soften. If you can, just relax the muscles in your face. Your face does a lot of work. There's nothing to do now. And let your breathing return to normal. And continue on the exhale to relax and soften your body. Relaxing your chest and your belly. We tend to hold our belly tense. Let's just have a soft belly, let it hang. And let your awareness rest on your breathing. Noticing the sensations of the body breathing in and breathing out. And just relaxing your focus and your awareness on the body breathing. Your mind wanders off and you notice that you're thinking. Just notice and say softly to yourself, this. Like you're reminding yourself, this is happening. Thinking is happening. Without getting wrapped up in whatever narrative or issues or process your thinking mind is thinking about. And bring your attention back to your breathing. And as we come to the end of this sitting, may it be that whatever benefits we have received from this practice help us move through the world with calmness and compassion and kindness. And may it be that whatever this practice gives us helps us to look at the world through kind eyes and bring kindness and centeredness and compassion to our interactions with the people around us. May all sentient beings benefit from the practice we do here today. May all sentient beings be happy. May all sentient beings be well. May all sentient beings be safe. May all sentient beings be at ease and at peace. Thank you for your practice. So today, we're going to talk about mindfulness of feelings and emotions, which turns out to be the third foundation of mindfulness. Feelings are a difficult topic in this culture. We classify them as good or bad. These feelings are allowable, these feelings are not. We're okay, we're not okay. We let them become a referendum on our general well-being. But they don't have to be that. Feelings are a natural process of being alive. It's part of how we know that we're present and awake and alive. And all feelings are good. All feelings are appropriate. We tend to classify feelings as good or bad, anger good, anger bad, sadness bad, happiness good, pleasure good. And as a result of that, we tend to meet our feelings with some sort of attachment or aversion, sort of like this ping-ponging back and forth. I feel good, I'm going to cling to that. And then when that starts to fade, because everything comes and goes, especially states of mind, we feel suffering. Or we feel sad or angry or hurt, and I'm going to reject that because I don't want to feel that. And what we reject, what we resist, persists. So we bounce back and forth between attachment and aversion, which continues to confuse the thinking mind and makes it more difficult for us to function in the present, where our lives are actually happening. But what if there's a different paradigm? What if we decide right now that all feelings are okay? They're not good, they're not bad. They're just pleasant, unpleasant, or neutral, easy, hard, or me. And work on meeting that with some acceptance. Now, I'm not naive enough to assume that we can just like throw some sort of switch on the back of our head and here we are. But one way to start to practice this is when we're in a difficult space, rather than just try to reject it and say, I don't want it, it's okay to pause and remind ourselves, I'm okay. This is just a difficult moment. It's like a mantra. It's like that passage I keep reading from Jeannie DePro's book, which I don't have handy at the moment, where she says, and so I remind myself as often as I must, which is very often. Enjoy the good times, but don't be surprised when those feelings fade. And if you're experiencing grief or sadness or anger, that's okay. Don't get attached to that, and don't shun it either. Which brings me to anger, because this is a really difficult one for a lot of people. We're often told that we shouldn't be angry. If we're angry, we're not okay, we're not being okay, we're somehow hurting people. And anger has a bad reputation because people equate being angry with doing angry things. But it doesn't have to be that way. Feelings are not a call to action, and the art, and I say art because you have to practice an art, the art of anger is to be so angry you can scream at somebody, but you don't. To be angry, to experience whatever feeling you're having, without being relieved of your ability to make good choices. And some of this comes about when we start to tell ourselves and remind ourselves that we are okay, even in difficult moments. In Buddhist scripture, there is the concept of two arrows. An arrow will wound you if you're in front of it. And it's also true that our experience is in two parts. Here's what happens. Here's what we tell ourselves about what happens. These are separate. This one we can't really do it much about. It just happens. Over here, in what we tell ourselves about what happens, we have all kinds of choices. The two arrows. The first arrow is a wound. Boom! I'm hurt. I feel bad. I feel angry. I feel sad. Something has happened, and I don't feel okay. The second arrow, now there's nothing we can do about that most of the time. But the second arrow is completely optional. The second arrow regards what we tell ourselves about this feeling of feeling wounded or hurt or angry. If we start telling ourselves that we're bad, or as one friend of mine says, bad, stupid, and wrong, or I shouldn't feel this way, or this is inappropriate, that's the second arrow, that's the second wound. But if we can remember, and it takes practice, to remind ourselves there's nothing wrong with this experience. It's just difficult, and I'm not inappropriate, and I am okay, as long as I'm acting okay. I can be so angry I can bop somebody upside the head. That's fine as long as I don't bop anybody upside the head. And sometimes the best we can do is notice the second arrow when it's arriving. Notice I'm feeling angry, and I'm telling myself it's not okay. And one of the fruits of mindfulness practice is we start to notice what narrative we're attaching to things. So I feel happy. I want that to last. That's a thought that's not going to serve me, okay? Because I'm going to be attached to that feeling, and then when it fades, because all feelings do, I'm going to feel bad. Or if I'm feeling sad or unhappy or angry or frustrated, just breathe into it, even if it's hard. And remember and recognize all feelings are impermanent. They're just energy passing through the body and the psyche. And we experience them really as a physical experience, as a somatic experience. We have a physical sensation. All feelings are a physical sensation. They happen in the body first, and then we put a label on it, and now it's an emotion. When I feel sad, I feel it like right here, or sometimes in my belly. When I feel angry, it's almost like my body is like trying to defend itself, so my shoulders are trying to fold my body in half. And I feel my arms get tense and my shoulders start to rise. There's a whole somatic experience of feelings and emotions, and we can pause, start with pausing, slow down our breathing, notice what we are experiencing, decide we're okay, it's just uncomfortable. And move on. Not move on from the feelings, just continue with whatever. And I emphasize again, knowing we're okay. This is an opportunity for self-compassion. And it's a lot easier and a lot less stressful and draining than that ping-ponging back and forth between attachment and aversion and saying, I don't want it or I have to have it. Because they're like clouds. Feelings are like clouds. They're wispy around the edges, denser in the middle, and wispy around the edges as they're floating away. So, the best thing I ever heard about feelings was at a very early Zen sitting in California, and this would have been around 1991 or 92. And there was somebody in the room who I knew was having a very, very difficult time of it. And during the Q&A, he asked the teacher, what do I do with these feelings? And the teacher said, welcome them, be kind to them, treat them as honored guests, and eventually they will leave. Welcome them, be kind to them, treat them as honored guests, and eventually they will leave. So, I invite you and remind you once again to treat yourself with compassion and to be kind and gentle with yourself. Especially in the difficult moments, because you're doing okay, it just doesn't feel okay. Self-compassion. These are moments for self-compassion. So, thank you for your kind attention.